This is the all-new 11th generation iPad, and I've been using it for quite a few days now, and today I'm going to give you my full thoughts on it. But here, I'm going to be very honest and say that I wasn't the most thrilled when it came to testing this device out, because I used the M4 iPad Pro as my main computer, and I also used the M3 iPad Air as well, which I also did a full review on, which you can click the link above or in the description below to check that video out. The iPad Pro has a lot of bells and whistles that not a lot of people need to pay for, because it is quite an expensive device, which is why I believe the M3 iPad Air is the best iPad for most people. And now you have a 13-inch variant as well. But of course, people who want a smaller yet powerful iPad can get the 11-inch iPad Air. And if you're someone who wants something even more portable just for content consumption, then the iPad mini is the perfect iPad for content consumption. So it always made me wonder, what is the base iPad really for? And can I even recommend it to people? And so now that I've been testing this iPad out for a whole week now, I kind of see the value in it and I see who it's for, and that's what we're going to talk about today. But first, let's talk about design. This 11th generation iPad has the same design as all the other iPads in the lineup. Whether you look at the iPad mini all the way to the iPad Pro, it's got that same squared off edge design that I really like. So from a design perspective, this is beautiful, and it also comes in great colors to choose from as well. Like the iPad mini and the iPad Air, this has Touch ID, but unfortunately it's not compatible with the Apple Pencil Pro or even the second generation Apple Pencil. It only works with the USB-C Apple Pencil, and that's something that always leaves me scratching my head, because it's like, why? Especially with this 11th generation one. They could have had this compatible with the Apple Pencil Pro like all the other iPads in the lineup, but they chose not to do that, so you always have to plug it in to charge it. But once again, from a design perspective, it's pretty much just like all the other iPads. When it comes to the display, it's an 11-inch display, and it's a decent display. It's not anything groundbreaking, but I will say the quality does not seem as great as the iPad mini because it's a larger display. And with a smaller display of the iPad mini, it's packing in more pixels per inch. So you do feel like this is not, the best display in the market right now. But once again, for who this device is meant for, I think it's pretty great. So just don't be expecting a high refresh rate or an OLED display. None of the iPads except the iPad Pro have that. And the processor that this uses is the A16 processor. The 10th generation iPad used the A14 Bionic one. And I was kind of confused about that as well, because all the iPads in the lineup right now, all the way from the 7th generation iPad mini to the M4 iPad Pro, they all have a chip that's either an A17 Pro chip or an M series chip, which means you get Apple Intelligence. And there were a lot of rumors and speculation that this new 11th generation iPad would have a chip that would be compatible with Apple Intelligence, but you don't get that. So this is the only iPad right now that doesn't allow you to use any of the Apple Intelligence features. But I did wish that this had the same processor as the iPad mini, which is the A17 Bionic chip, so you could future-proof yourself with this and have Apple Intelligence features that are available right now, but also what's to come in the future. But what I am very happy with this iPad, and this was something that was brought up from the 10th generation iPad, is that this was the first iPad to get a camera in its landscape orientation. Before, all the iPads had a camera in the portrait mode. The base iPad was the first one to get that, and it kind of trickled down to all the other iPads in the lineup as well, and you get that here again. But see, here's the thing about this iPad. You don't really talk about the specs, because to be very honest, for what you're really going to be using this for, the specs don't really matter. So now, after testing this iPad for a week now, I've realized that this is a great iPad for people who just want to do simple iPad tasks. You see, over the past few years, more and more people have begun to start using their iPads like computers, right? And it's become a Mac-like replacement for a lot of people. Once again, not everyone. And we've kind of forgotten to enjoy a device that's just meant to do simple tasks like checking and sending emails, browsing the internet, going through social media, reading ebooks, maybe playing a game here and there, texting your friends, and also some light note-taking. And for those things, the processor doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, all the iPads right now in the lineup are really fast, including this one, because if you compare this to the 10th generation, which was no slouch by any means with that A14 Bionic chip, this takes it next level with the A16 chip. But then again, I wasn't really trying to compare the speed, because I just wanted to do those simple tasks that this iPad was meant to do. Now, at the end of the day, this is an iPad. It is running iPadOS 18. And that's also what the iPad Pro and the iPad Air are running, right? So if you wanted to, edit videos on LumaFusion, you can do that. If you want to do some high-level graphic design work, you can do that. Once again, will the experience be as great? Will you feel some lag? Absolutely. But then again, you can do those things on there if you want to. I just don't recommend it. Watching content on this is also great. I mean, you get a nice large display and it's great to view content on. I can see a lot of people taking this while traveling and stuff to watch movies and TV shows on, browsing the internet, reading books and magazines. This is great for that. And I also think this is great for kids because the iPad mini, though it's smaller than this, it is more of a premium device. I mean, that's a $500 device. I'm not sure if parents will feel comfortable giving their child an iPad mini that's $500 and they break it or something, right? This, on the other hand, is just $349. And Amazon right now is actually selling it for $329. And I have the link for that in the description below. So if you want it, you can check that out. But once again, I also want to say that you don't need to get the 11th generation iPad because it's identical in almost every way to the 10th generation iPad. Because yes, that has an A14 processor, but you're not going to find a difference if you're using this iPad for what I just mentioned, those simple tasks that this device is intended for. But here's the cool thing. If you do want to get some serious work done on this, you can. Apple sells this great keyboard accessory, but at $249, that's kind of hefty. Instead, I've actually been doing some work on this with this great keyboard from ESR. The design is identical to Apple's Magic Keyboard that they sell for the iPad Air and the iPad Pro. It's got that same floating design that magnetically holds your iPad. It's got backlit keys. It's got a nice trackpad. It's really, really nice. It includes shortcuts as well. And typing on that was honestly as close as to the Magic Keyboard that Apple sells. And here's the best part. It's only 80 bucks. So for 80 bucks, that is a great value keyboard. And if you're interested in that, I've got the link for it in the description below. So the cool thing about this iPad that you don't get with the iPad mini, for example, is that you can get work done on it thanks to these great keyboard accessories. And once again, this one from ESR is just fantastic. You don't even get those backlit keys on Apple's own keyboard that they sell for the 11th generation iPad. But at the end of the day, there's not a whole lot for me to discuss about the iPad. This is a simple iPad for simple tasks. And that's not a bad thing. It's a great value product, and for the price that it comes at, it's quite fantastic. And once again, it's great for individuals who just want an iPad for simple things. And if that's what you're looking for, this is definitely worth it. Or if you're someone in the market who loves the iPad mini but wants something larger, this is the answer to that. But at the end of the day, I want to know your thoughts. What do you think about the 11th generation iPad? Whatever your thoughts are, whatever your questions are, leave them down in the comment section below. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, and I'll see you next time.